Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal Public Affairs program. I'm Jerry Williams. Well, the WIHS leadership team met a lot of people while at the NRB, National Religious Broadcasters Convention in Nashville, Tennessee, and one of them was Christi Craig, Marketing Director for Southern Region USA Israel Ministry of Tourism. Good afternoon, Christi. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Jerry. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This is our first NRB. How many of these have you attended?
This is actually my second NRB.
Your second?
Yeah.
Right. We're right behind you. We're trying to catch up.
Huge, exciting show. I agree with you.
Before we get into the Israel Ministry of Tourism, let's get to know the woman of God first. What's your background, born and raised where, and how long you been walking with the Lord?
Born and raised in Texas, lived in both Houston and Dallas. Can't say that I have the most exciting testimony story. I was raised by a single mother, raised in the church. When it was time to start participating in youth group activities, I was quite shy, but my mom was like, no, you're going. Had to force me a few times, but after that, just fell in love with it, fell in love with the Lord, with the youth activities, with the youth group, with the friends and relationships there. Baptized when I was 12, became a baptized believer then, and been walking with the Lord ever since. I think if anything, it's a testimony to me about how important it is to raise your children in the church. And now I'm married with 2 teenage boys, and we're doing the same thing.
So here we are at NRB, and you are the Marketing Director, Southern Region USA Israel Ministry of Tourism. How long have you been connected and working with this ministry?
I've been with the Ministry of Tourism for 3 years now. It's changed my life, you know. I was hired, I think, because I had a sales background, so they're looking for Christians to get out in the world, just like we're doing now, and talk to other believers about Israel and how important it is to travel to Israel and how it changes you when you travel to Israel. So even though I've worked for them for a short time, just 3 years, it's been life-changing.
They discovered you or you discovered them? What happened?
It was a God thing. Came from a sales background. I was selling advertising in the travel vertical and producing travel guides for smaller markets, you know, visit Macon, Georgia, visit Dahlonega, Georgia, visit Columbus, Georgia, and decided I wanted to work for a destination that sounded so interesting. So believe it or not, I just started looking around at any destinations, and there was a posting on LinkedIn for a marketing director for Israel Ministry of Tourism. I mean, it was a God thing. It had to be. Led me to the interview, and things just clicked, and here I am.
How many trips have you actually taken to Israel?
Well, it doesn't take many to make you a believer about how important it is to your faith. So, in all honesty, I've been twice. I started working for the ministry in December 2022. They sent me to Israel in February 2023. I went with a group of travel agents, life-changing to walk in the footsteps of Jesus on that trip. Came back, and of course, in October 7th, 2023, 6 or 7 months later, that conflict began. And recently went back to Israel for the first time since October 7th, just 2 weeks ago. So I was there the last week in January. Visited sites that I hadn't been to before, visited sites that opened during the conflict because archaeology doesn't stop. So it was a fabulous experience both times.
If you're just joining us, I am speaking with Christi Craig, Marketing Director, Southern Region USA Israel Ministry of Tourism. Current opportunities for Christian travelers visiting Israel?
I would say there are lots of opportunities. I mean, travel to Israel, we were just talking about the conflict, it hasn't stopped. Everything is open. If I could just say it bluntly, everything is open and no one is there. The crowds are low, the lines are low, no one would be in the background of your pictures. It's actually a great time to go, whether it's this year or next year. New sites have opened. I can tell you about one of those if you like. I didn't know where you wanted to go with that. So when I was there the last week in January, they had just opened what's called the Pilgrim Road to the public. It started like most archaeological digs, a crew went out in Jerusalem to a city street to fix a sewer problem, and lo and behold, they discovered the Pool of Siloam.
Wow.
So the Pool of Siloam, if you remember in John, I think it's chapter 9, but don't quote me on that. I'm not a pastor. But remember the story of Jesus healing the blind man. He put mud on his eyes and told him, go wash in the Pool of Siloam. You can read it in the Bible. If you know anything about Jewish history, to be ceremonially clean before you went up to the Temple Mount, you had to wash. Actually a fairly large pool, and it's still being excavated, but you can stand there and look at it and see it. So they're excavating it still, and they kept digging deeper and discovered a road that connected the Pool of Siloam to the Temple Mount. Ancient Israelites, the Jewish people, Jesus, his followers, before going to the Temple Mount, they would wash in the Pool of Siloam, and then they would walk along that road that you can now walk along, that I walked along. You can see parts of the road on the side of it that have been carved out where vendors would be, because they sold food and drink. You had to purchase something to sacrifice. You had to purchase pigeons, or you had to purchase cattle, depending on how much money you had. That's where the money changers would have been. Obviously, we don't know exactly which of those alcoves the money changers where Jesus turned the tables over would have been, but you're walking right there where they were, right? You could have been walking right past them up the Pilgrim Road to the Temple Mount, and it comes out right at the Western Wall. A just unbelievable experience.
Tourism supports the local communities in a significant way, doesn't it?
Significant way. I mean, as you can imagine, the tourism industry has been devastated since October 7th for the last 2 years. Yeah. And not just tour operators, but yes, tour operators, hotels, restaurants, the bus drivers, people that work in souvenir shops. It's just layers and layers and layers of people and families that have been affected. So honestly, the best way that Christians can support Israel right now, and Israelis and the Jewish people, is to travel to Israel. And like I said before, now is a great time to go because the crowds are low. It hasn't fully returned, but it will. Whenever we have these conflicts, it creates a period of pent-up demand. And so those crowds will be back. So if you're able to, highly suggest going sooner rather than later.
Any updates or insights you can offer our listening audience for the upcoming year in the way of travel there?
Again, I just can't reiterate more that the best way to support Israel is to travel to Israel. Travel will come back, or tourism will come back, the crowds will come back. It's just, it takes, if you're listening and your church group wants to go, or your pastor, your minister has been talking about going, it actually takes about a year to plan a trip. So now is a good time to start thinking about it, to talk with a tour operator or talk with a travel agent. I work with lots of travel agents who are destination or Israel specialists. A lot of travel agents we work with go through specific training. So if you're looking for a way to book that trip, it takes about a year to plan it. So now is a good time to start planning for 2027.
Ways that you would like to see the people of God pray for the people of Israel.
Israel, it's a country of about 10 million people. It's about the size of New Jersey, which when you think about it relative to the U.S. is not very big, of course. So everyone that lives there knew someone that was affected by the events of October 7th. And even though all of the hostages have been returned from Gaza, it's still a very open wound right now. So praying for the people of Israel, praying for the people in Gaza, praying for the leaders that are trying to figure out how to rebuild that area, how to make this current ceasefire last. Traveling to Israel, conflict is always going to be present in the Middle East. So when we have these peace agreements and these ceasefires, they bring lasting periods of peace, several years, and you've got to go when there's a ceasefire in place. So you've got to go now. But pray for the leaders that are trying to rebuild in Israel and Gaza. Prayers for the government, prayers for the Israelis, prayers for the Jewish people.
And you just heard my conversation with Christi Craig, Marketing Director for Southern Region USA Israel Ministry of Tourism, while at this year's NRB in Nashville, Tennessee. If you would like more information about what you heard today, call WIHS 860-346-1049, 860-346-1049. I'm Jerry Williams for the WIHS Journal. It's news and public affairs.